Alright, so today I'm going to be breaking down how I make my thumbnails. And I'm going to be breaking down one of my favourite thumbnails from recent memory. And it's also a very good example of a kind of a stereotypical thumbnail that I like to make. So I'm going to break it down, show you how I do it, and also a little bit of the why I do what I do. Alright, so I guess the first thing to start with is the thing that every thumbnail has, and that's the Garden Warfare 2 logo in the background. Okay, so step one, I grab my logo. And then I copy and paste it. I change the blending mode to linear dodge add. And then I go up here to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. And for this one, I like to add like a very small amount of blur. And then I copy and paste that. But this time I go back into the Gaussian blur and I crank it. This is what it looked like kind of by itself. But here you kind of get that more vibrant, deeper glow, a little bit more eye-catchy. So that's why I like to do that. Also on the base we have this kind of strip of red. This is me just trying to add a bit of color to the background. So because for about 2 years all my thumbnails had the exact same background. And the color, the exact shade of grey is from the Totally Accurate Battle Simulator Unit Creator background. That's where I got it from. Because I used to be a Tabs YouTuber. Or Explosive Death.
Oh, actually no, even Vladimir Spikes, not Gravestone Wall.
Okay, so then I kind of bring in my subject, this here imp. Okay, so for the imp, I started out with this photo here. This is I say photo, this is literally just a screenshot from the game. And then I trimmed it. So on top of that imp, I added a levels adjustment layer, which can be found down here. So you go down here to the adjustment layer panel and select levels. And so once you got it up here, you alt click to kind of only put it over the imp. And then what I did was I took this slider here and I basically put it all the way to the end just to make it dark. And then on top of that, I added a curves, which can be found in the exact same adjustment layer section. So curves, and for this one I made it really light. And then if you alt click it, it'll go over the top, and if we switch it on and off, kind of adds them in the same scene by adding a bit of additional lighting to the imp. When you initially get it, it will be completely white. So I'll just grab another one. To be completely white, and it will kind of apply that effect to everything. But if you then go Control I whilst clicking on the adjustment layer, you can invert it, and then with a white brush you can then just draw in where you want to go. That's how I do it. So to try and tie the imp even more into the same scene as the Garden Warfare 2 logo he's staring at, I added a little shadow. So we take the base imp photo, copy and paste it. I added a black color overlay by going, if you double click at the end of the layer here, you can bring up these kind of effect panels. You go to color overlay, select black. I cranked it all the way. And then after that, I added a Gaussian blur, same way as the logo. So to finish off this thumbnail, I wanted to add the Z-Mech inside the logo. Kind of looked like it's kind of coming out the logo towards the imp. So we've got this photo here that you can just find by typing like Garden Warfare 2 Z7 imp mech. It's a very easily accessible photo. I cut out the mech from the photo. I cut it out from the photo, we're left with this. I then changed the opacity down to around half. This is just a drawn shape here, coloured white, with again the Gaussian blur effect applied over the top. And then final touches. So then I add another hue and saturation layer over everything, just to kind of make the colours pop a bit more and make it a bit more eye-catchy. And then a brightness and contrast to again bring out the glowy bits and make it a little bit more eye-catchy. So that's it, that's how I make a thumbnail.